Okay. All right. Now, let's say we want to now we need to pass them as parameter. Instead of coding the first name, we want to now write another step for the first name, but we want to pass the first name as parameter instead of hard coding it, because what we've done is hard coded. 1 minute, if this comes to, can you step into that one for me, please? Okay, cool. So as you can see, these parameter, the name Richard, to bring that particular name into our feature file, so that from our feature file we can be changing the name that we want, and then the name is passed into this feature file. So I'm going to do that quickly. So now I need to close this step that I don't want. So I need only two steps open. So uh, two windows. I need to close the other ones, please. Let's say I want to replace this particular when clause with another one. I can say when I enter first name. So, but instead of hard coding it, I will put the name in out. So Richard. So that will be a step. So I can generate that step. Go to implementation. So then, okay. Uh, so let's copy that. So let's put it in the same step that we have the other one. Okay. So as you can see now, it's got one argument. So when you paste it, it's got an enter the first name, and the string is got an argument. So what you need to do is now that argument is what you're going to use as your first name. So I'm going to change that to first name. The other one that we have is the previous one that was hard coded. I just need to locate that one. If I go back to the feature file, so this one, as you can see now, is now showing in blue. So if I now go into the step that we've written before for the one that we had coded, to change that to, so this is this step actually. So which you're going to enter. So let's copy that one. Let's copy that step and then paste it at the end where we have our, so we remove this through exceptions. Let's replace it with our step. Okay, so as you can see, this is our element. and this is getting Richard from the code. But instead of this Richard now that is as coded, we're going to change it to with first name. So that our parameter is actually extracted from our feature file. So anytime it actually gets to this particular point, it's going to replace this first name with what we have on our feature file. So that is as simple as that, to be honest, on how to use uh, parameter. So I'm going to run the code right now, just removing the other ones. So this line right now, we've replaced it with a parameterized step. Now our step, the name is now actually, we are getting the name from feature file. So if you run this step, all right. So as you can see, it fills the two names. So now the next step we're going to say, just to make sure we get this right now, is to now also do the same thing for our last name, so that the last name is also parameterized. So we're going to do that. Then after that, we do another one that is going to be using examples. Then okay. Now we will do another one, but this time around we pass this as a parameter. So, and what's our last name? We're going to put it and say, uh, so, and the same way also, let's change this first name so that we actually confirm that it is actually from the feature file. Now we have this particular step we have to create the step definition for. Let's create all the steps. So, and you go to the form. So, and this is the step. So here right now we need to replace it with what that step holds. So let's go back to that step that we have, this one, and go to step definition. Okay, feature size, that's one. Okay, so this is the step that we've written before, that Richard has written for the hard coded one, but now we want to use it for our parameterized code, which you've already pasted at the end. So we're going to have it at the end, paste this one. So, but now instead of the surname, we're going to change it to what we have here. It should be like argument 0, but that is fine. So we can change it to a different thing. So now instead of argument 0, we can make that something meaningful. That is last name. So So now what we are going to be sending will be our last name. So that's it. So that this last name is from our feature file, and anything that we store in that last name that's coming from the feature file is going to be sent as a send key. So that's what is going to happen. So let's quickly run that right now also. So as you can see, we've been able to confirm that this is from our feature file because Richard First is what we changed to, and now it's showing Bamwo, my surname. So let's see, because that, let's see where that is coming from. That should be from also from the feature file. So oh, okay, I think I know what that issue is now. So because we have both of them working, or the two feature step. So the two steps are, so these two steps, so this one writes Banwo and this one now writes my surname. So we can comment one of them out so that is only one that's working. So that is that. So the same way also, you could also do the same thing and say maybe you want to write your, and let's say like you say, when I enter first name and last name. So in this one now, it's going to get two parameters from you, because with this one line, you can enter your first name and your last name. Let's try to see what that is going to give to us. Let's create a feature file. That's step definition, and it goes into the same place. So, and this is the two that we've done. This one, we'll paste that and we'll put this at this point. Let's copy this one. So, and that is for the last name, then the first name. So now these are the two steps that we have right now. So as you can see, this step definition has got two arguments. So the first one from our feature file, if you go to your feature file, is first name and last name. So then for you to do that, you put your first name, and that should be first name is first argument. It's basically, you can put any name that you can recognize or something. So let's say I say first. I just need to be consistent. Then, so this will be my first. So let's say this is my last name. So just to to show you that you just need to be consistent. Oh, okay, maybe that's already bound. Let's say I put it in as a surname, so that we can see how that can be used. Surname. So then this also needs to be changed to surname. Okay, that's it. So that means that this we have two parameters, so you can have more parameters as you go along. So now lastly, I would also look into how you can use examples with this. So in the case that you want to even pass this as an example, let's create another feature file, another scenario rather, and call this one with examples. Okay, let's say this is with examples now. So, and because we are going to have examples, you're going to have scenario outline. So if you don't have scenario outline, you cannot use example with it. So be careful when you have examples. And if you have scenario outline and you don't have examples, it's going to give you error message. So we create examples. The system is slow. I can't type anything. Let's say we are going to be using examples for these two steps. So let me comment this one out. So we don't need this. So we're going to be using example for these two steps. What we're going to have right now, our first name. So we would replace that with first name. We will put that in. Then we will do the same thing. So, okay, even in that sense, let us just use this line given then this one. So what you have with that, this is you using your first name and last name. So you would put this sign at the end. Okay, so for now you would now create your example scenario using your pipe, and you put first name, and then as you can see that is already been converted. Now last name, that also changed. So then you put your data. My first name, let's say is Richard that we're talking about, and the is Banwo. So now let's say we now have another data which is JG and the surname. So now you have several data that, so your test is going to run twice using this data. So let's see what we have on that, and we compare with the other ones. Let's run this step. So what we have right now is like, this is the parameters now, that with this one you pass it as without an example. What you are going to be sending will be this to your first name and your last name. But in this particular instance, you're going to be using scenario outline. So because you are using scenario outline, you will have your table, and the header of the table is what you will pass in there. Then also you will create your tables with the read data. So that's what we have. Let's run this right now. Like I said, in this instance now, we have three different scenario. This is one scenario, and this is okay. If you do something like that, let's go, and this is, I'll just put a comment here. So this is scenario one, and then we have scenario two here. Then we have scenario three here. So we are altogether three scenarios. So this is the one that we have with parameterized step with our example. This is now with a sample. So let's run those steps together. If it allows me to. So that's the first one. Is that no? That's the second one. Yeah. That's scenario two that we have. That's scenario three. So let's see. I think so. That is number one. Okay. I would just close all these chromes just for us to be able to see the step once again. So Richard 1 and Banwo 1 is the one of the tests. So then we have Richard and Deji as the other two. So yeah, that is one. That's another one. Oh, okay. I think it's fine, right? Because I right click on the step actually. So which I think is fine. So if I do the same thing for this one, so that's going to run the value submission. Okay. All right. Let's correct that one. I think I know what the issue could be. So 1 minute, because you've got the same name anyway. Number 2 and number 1. So if you right click, right, if this allows me, as you can see, it's got that, but because they've got the same name, it just picks one. So if you click on that, so it's saying there's some skipped, yeah, so error. Oh, I think that is not right, isn't it? So that should come after that step. I don't know why I didn't undo what happened somewhere. Yeah, so that should be the first and the second anyway. The other is not right, so let's run. I'll change this to 1 and this becomes 2 now. Number 2. Okay, as you can see, that is this first one is only got one step, only one feature. So there's a question on how to assert. So we're going to cover that next week. So it's just assert, and we're going to cover that next week. So also, yeah, kind of writing a step for everything. So I will show that quickly before we leave. So if you are looking to get the steps, 1 minute. So okay. Any other questions? So I've started, like I told you last week. So I have started building this. So it's not yet done. It's work in progress. So if you want to check what we have, that it also will change as time goes on. So, and you would be able to see all the steps that you can uh, that you need to follow for you to be able to create a framework. It actually started from very beginning, installing Java, creating your new projects, and also updating the POM. And be careful from this step so that your structure is similar to what you have. I'm going to put some pointer into at this particular point because your folder structure should be the same thing as what you have on your uh, test runner. So otherwise it's not going to work actually. So I'm going to update that so that it corresponds with what we have. Like you can see, I've got features. So I'm going to update this so that then if you're able to follow these steps, then I think you are fine. And just copy and paste all those one. Like I also said, also I would, yeah, the test runner, I would clean that up. I don't, because there are some people are finding an issue with the test runner. Remove all those things that are not required for us right now. So leaving the one that we need. So that's what we're going to have. So yeah, that is that for tonight. Thank you everyone. So for those guys that are in the internships, your work started or continues, so you could, yeah, talk within your team. And I'm expecting everyone to actually start to build something with their projects. Any last question? If there's none, I'll say good night to everyone. All right. So good night, everyone. We'll see you again next Saturday, 8 p.m. Yeah, cheers.